Hello everybody, my name is CulBlu. I'm bringing out this video of me reviewing a board game, and today I'm going to be doing my review of Shallow Sea, the Great Barrier Reef. Finally, it's been a long journey to do this. I know. What you might be saying, hey CulBlu, why has it been a long journey? Well, it's just has been, okay? It just has been. Um, but as far as everything goes, let me go ahead and get our background music started, and we'll get talking through our review here. Love my background music. All right, so switching our cameras over to the other camera here. Let's kind of clean up our little fishy splay. But yeah, as far as the game goes, Shallow Sea is a game where your goal is to essentially build an ecosystem, and you're trying to do so by placing out sea life tiles on your board and make sure that you put fish around the reefs to support the reefs and score them essentially. And additionally, you're also trying to get sea life tiles to show up around your board and get those to hopefully give you the opportunity to, build a great sustainable ecosystem. So as far as the game goes, though, I'm going to go ahead and go through the setup of things. It's going to be a little bit brief. In my playthrough, if you go check out that, I did a solo playthrough. I did a little bit more of a longer kind of setup, but I'm just going to set up for the base game that it gives you in the start of the book. And we are going to be playing solo here, so we're going to look at the rule book, and we're going to consult this little chart here. So consulting this little chart here, this little chart is going to show us how many fish that we need and how many other things that we need. It's also going to show you all the components and everything you need to get the game set up. But essentially, we're going to be setting up our bag of fish and our bag of tiles, and we got to figure out what tiles we need, and then we'll get everything else kind of set. So again, this is what we're going to need here for our first playthrough, so we're just going to pretty much spend our time here. So we will need to grab 9 of each fish, because we're playing a solo game here. So we're going to grab 9 orange fish. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9. Then we're going to grab 9 green fish. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to grab 9 purple fish. So we're going to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then finally, we're going to have 9 yellow fish, which we'll grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have a total of 36 fish. We're going to take all 36 of those fish, and we're going to put those in the fish bag. So this little bag that the game comes with, which I appreciate greatly. And we put all those fish inside the bag. Oh, missed. And we give it a nice little shake there, and we're going to put this bag to the side for now. Next, we're going to go ahead and do our sea life tiles. We're going to need 2 of each for a 1 to 2 player game. So I'm going to need 20 total. And the sea life tiles we're going to pull out or pick out are going to be here. But there are, on the back of the rule book, if you want to make your own custom setup, you can. It tells you how many of each type to put into the bag to make your own version of the game. And there's also scenarios back here in the rule book, which is what I played through here in my little playthrough. But these are different combinations of sea life tiles, and you can play it with just this and not the objective, or this plus the objective and the scoring minimum, or you can just go over here and just try to add the achievement mode. There's a few different ways you can play the game, but just know that I'm just going to follow this because this is going to be for our first game. So for this one, we're going to grab those tiles. The game comes with these little nice organizing trays. I do have the nesting season expansion, so therefore I have a 3rd tray and I have some more tiles. But for the most part, the tiles are in here. As you can see here, they have the letters A1, A2, A3, A4. And I put mine in order, so they're all kind of there, easy to follow. But I'm going to try to get the corresponding tiles, 2 of each. Let me open this up. And inside of this little holder, there's going to be 4 of each tile inside of its container. So I'm just going to grab 2 of each. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll put it on the screen here. So I'm going to get 2 A1s, and then 2 A4s, 2 B1s, and then we need our C tray. So we need 2 C1s, no, 2 C2s, 2 C2s, 2 C4s, 2 D1s, 2 D4s, and then we need 2 E1s, 2 E4s, and 2 F2s. If I can get this open. It's not opening. There we go, got it. So E1, E4, and F2. There we go. Boom, done. All right, so it's gonna be all my tiles, my sea life tiles, and I'm gonna take those and I'm gonna put them in this this blue bag, the sea life bag, and I'm gonna put those in there. Give those a good shuffle. And additionally, I'm going to take my tiles that came with the base game, and again, I have the nesting season tiles inside of here. But we're going to take our coral tiles, which should have 4 different colors, which should be yellow, green, yellow, green, purple, blue. Not blue, sorry, yellow, green, purple, orange. And the nesting season, if you have that expansion, there's going to be tiles like this that have the white on the edge. Those are basically going to be for wild, so this can be any fish, whereas these ones are specifically yellow fish. So just know that for my version of the game, I had the nesting season stuff mixed in there. I didn't bother taking it out because it's fine, it's easy to integrate. So I kept those in there. So as I do the demo, you might see some tiles that I have that you don't, so I'm trying to say. But that's okay. The game is still played pretty much the same way. All right, so now that we're done with all that, we're going to go ahead and put this rulebook to the side because we don't need it anymore. At least I don't need it anymore. And we're going to zoom back out to our main view, and we're going to get everything else set up. So again, I'm playing solo, so my setup is slightly different. I'm going to take my 5 seashell tile, or my 5 seashell tiles, and I'm going to put those here. It's little wooden bits. And I'm going to put 2 on my board. Additionally, because I'm playing solo, I'm going to take the Sea Lion card, which is a Sea Lion card, and I'm going to put this card out available in front of me. This is an addition because I'm playing solo. I'll explain what that does later. And then, let's see. Oh, shoot, I need to get the rulebook back because I forgot to get our orange and blue cards, our objective cards. We should also get the 2 objective cards, which should be orange and blue ecosystem cards. We need orange 1 and blue 2. So I'm going to go to my set of ecosystem cards over here, which look like this. I have my stuff sleeves, but it looks like this on the back. And we're going to grab the orange 1 and blue 2. So it should be a set of orange and a set of blues. So there's orange 1 and blue 2. Those are going to be some extra ways for me to score points. Those are going to be some ways for me to score extra points throughout the course of the game. So those are pretty nice to have for sure. More opportunities to score points. Okay, now we got everything that we need. So I'm going to put these cards up here, and I'll explain those objectives as we go in our demo here. And then continuing on, we're going to take the rest of our sea life tiles, put those away. We don't need them. And we're going to get our 3 bags. We have those handy. And we're going to set up our initial offering, our initial splay. So because I'm playing the way I'm playing, I'm putting my stuff in a column, but you can put yours in a row, that's fine. You can put yours any way as long as you're able to get different sets of things. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine in columns. So I'm going to grab 5 coral tiles. 2, 3, 4, 5. And to make sure all these are going to be on their unfinished side. Then I'm going to grab 5 sea life tiles randomly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5. Put those on their unfinished side as well. And then finally, I'm going to grab 5 fish from the bag of fish. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put those down the middle. Now, what we're looking at here is we're looking at a row, or in this case, rows of different sets that I can possibly grab. On my turn, I'll be grabbing a single fish in a single tile in the same row. There are ways I can break that rule, but just note the general rule is grab this fish plus one of these 2 tiles, or this fish plus this tile or this tile. It's always 1 fish and 1 tile, just about every round. Now, like I said, there's a few things that break that, but I'll just go ahead and start playing the game and explain it more as we go along. I will talk about these cards here. So my orange card and my blue card, the game told me to grab these 2, which is Cryptic Coralization or Colorization, and this one is Bountiful Caves. So Bountiful Caves, which is the blue card, it says text at the bottom, but it shows pictographically what it gives you. I will get 3 points for every completed sea life tile that's in the middle of my ocean, which is here in the middle of the map. And then for the Cryptic Colorization, I would get 2 points for every fish and coral pairing that are the same color. There has to be completed fish and completed coral on the same thing. I get 2 points for that. And that'll make a lot more sense as we go along. Now, going back to our board, I didn't explain what the in-game conditions are, but the in-game conditions are when I have 4 spots left, then the game is over. That's the last round, the game is over. And you score your points from there. And points will be based on completed corals that you have on your board, and then some other combinations of points. These gold cards scored here, these objectives finished over there, so on and so forth. So I'm going to play about halfway through this particular demo before I finally go to my review, talk about things that I liked, things I didn't like, and then give my rating at the very end. But let's go ahead and continue because we're only 10 minutes in, so we're making good time. All right, so what I'm going to do is on my first turn, my very initial turn, this is everybody around the table, but I'm playing solo, so just me. I'm only going to pick a sea life tile. I'm only going to pick a sea life tile, and I'm going to put it on my board, anywhere on my board. Outside of this particular initial placement, my tiles that I place must be adjacent to or neighboring existing tiles on my board. And I'll explain the difference between those two things in a second. All right, now as far as what I have here, I have a few different options. I'll explain these as I take them. I'll try to go through and take it one of each eventually. Depends on how far I go in my playthrough. I could try to finish an entire playthrough for the demo, but I have a video playthrough. You can go watch that too. All right, so I'm going to take this one here. And what this tile means is this tile has 2 points. Oh, it's upside down. Nope, it's not upside down. Sorry. This tile has 2 points. This tile needs me to get 2 same corals in this orientation. So those blue boxes are corresponding to where the tile is pointing. So it's currently checking these 2 spots. If I rotate the tile when I place it, it's checking these 2 spots instead. So that's important for like kind of spatial reasoning and placement. So you got to be really cognizant of where you're putting your stuff, or really aware of where you're putting your things. So in this case, I'm going to put it like that just because I want to. That's going to be my initial tile. So if I can complete 2 corals that are not the same color, if I complete 2 corals that are not the same type in these 2 spots, then I will be able to complete the sea life tile. But that's my initial tile for my initial placement. Now that I've done that, I'm going to refill the board, and now I'm going to play the game like normal from this point going forward. Now on my turn, I can do a few things. The first thing I can do is I can do the standard action of grab a tile and a fish. It has to be in the same row, in this case, the same pairing. So I can grab this fish and this tile, or I can grab this fish and this tile. It's up to me. Whether I get a coral tile or a sea life tile will depend on what I might be trying to do. But for the most part, those are my options. Second thing I can try to do on my turn is I can spend 1 seashell to clear the entire sea life row or column in this case, and then replace with 5 new tiles and continue my turn. Or I can spin that one seashell to clear the fish and then refill with 5 new fish and then continue my turn like normal. Or I can do it for the corals instead. So essentially, I could spend 1 seashell to clear one of these columns and then replace it and then continue my turn. And I can do this many times as I want to during my turn. I have a house rule for a thing, but that's only if I'm playing with people who do such silly things. But keep in mind that the fish column is very important to keep an eye on, because if you ever need to place new fish out, but the bag is empty, then that's going to be considered the last round. So you have to be very cautious and very cognizant of that. So what that means is that if I wipe the fish too many times, we run out of fish and the game ends prematurely, because otherwise the game will end once I have 4 spots left. So lots of opportunity for me to score points, but I had to be sure not to take out too many fish. So continuing on, I can also spend 2 of these seashells to move a fish on my board from where it is to another spot on the board. So I can move it from where it is to another spot on the board. It has to be from a spot that the fish is. It has to be an incomplete fish, so a fish is not sitting on top of a tile, and the fish has to swim to a spot that is open. So those are the things I can do with my seashells. Those are the things I can do on my turn before I start placing stuff. But I'm not going to do any of those things. I'm just going to go ahead and just take my normal turn. I'm not really too concerned about what I take. I do want to try to go for some good points, so I'm going to grab these 2, because this particular coral is going to give me 9 points. When you place a tile, you must place it either adjacent to, meaning that they're touching on the same, touching on sides here, or neighboring, which means that they're over a single bubble. Not a single open bubble, not a single close. It doesn't matter if there's a fish here already. It's just they have to be adjacent in a way like this, or sorry, neighboring in a way like this. So I can place my tile here, next to any existing things on my board. I'm choosing to put it here though. So I'll put it like that, and I put my fish there, and that's it. My turn is done. My entire turn is done. Then it passes on, we refill the board, and it passes on to the next player, but I'm playing solo, so therefore it's my turn again. Woo! All right, so for my next turn, I'm gonna go ahead and take, challenging. I'm gonna take this one. We're gonna be risky with it. And we're gonna put that like so. Now, whenever you place a fish on one of the sides, it doesn't matter if the fish matches or not. So what I mean by that is that I can put the fish here, or I can put the tile like this and put the fish there. That's fine. That doesn't mean that this tile can't be finished later. It just means that before I can finish this tile, I need to put a yellow fish in this specific spot. But instead of kind of causing myself problems, I'm just going to do that and just move on. All right, continuing on, drawing a new tile and drawing a new fish. All right, perfect. So going back to our columns here, one thing I didn't mention before, but it's important to note, if I ever have a situation to where I have 4 of the same coral or 4 of the same fish, like I have now, I can choose to wipe this for free. As in, without spinning a seashell, I can clear this entire column of fish and then put 5 new fish out and then continue my turn like normal. Now granted, I always want to be cautious about if I wipe fish or not, so I don't want to touch the fish right now. It's tempting, but I'm not going to. Instead, what I'm going to do is oh man, yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? See, this tile is nice because what I could do is I could do this and then put yellow fish, and orange fish there. So you know what? I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to wipe the fish. All right, we're going to wipe the fish. Now, keep in mind that this means at the beginning of the game, I put 9 of each fish, each color fish. This means that I'm now now going to be out 4 green fish and 1 purple fish for the rest of the game. So that's usually why I don't want to do it, because I'd rather have those on my board, because I can swim them around later if I really need to. But in this case, we're doing a short demo, so we're just gonna go ahead and burn down the ecosystem. Why not? Bad ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Oh, much better. Okay, perfect. Look at that. I was rewarded for my treachery. So I'm gonna put that like so, and we're done. So we're gonna continue now. Before I end my turn, we'll always check to see if any of these tiles, are completed, meaning that they have all the required fish around them. And then from there, we'll complete the tile. I'll talk about completing the tiles once I actually get a completed tile. It shouldn't take me too long here, maybe a turn or two. But essentially, I need to be mindful of that before I end my turn there. All right, so, and these are some hard challenges. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend 1 seashell to grab this fish and this tile, because I have a plan. My plan is to do this, like so. And what that's gonna do for me is that's going to help me finish this one later, and is going to start contributing to this one. So I feel like we're making good progress here with our tiles there, and we got to use the seashell. Now, keep in mind, I could have alternatively taken a fish, remember the sea lion card? In order to use this, I can treat this as seashells. I can essentially take a single fish from the bag, put it there, so it's out of the game, but I get to treat it as if I spent a single seashell. I can alternatively take 2 fish from this bag, like so, and do the move a fish around, and those fish are taken out of the game. I can alternatively spend 2 fish again, and then do the same thing. Now the problem is that once I start putting fish down here, I start losing 2 points for every fish that I put here. So I need to be very careful about this. So I'm not doing that right now, but that's an option for me. So I could have, instead of spending a seashell, took a fish out of the rotation, but I decided not to do that. I decided to spin the seashell instead. All right, continuing on here. Let's see. We have a reasonable situation, so we're gonna go ahead and take advantage of it. So we're gonna grab. Ooh, we have a setup though. Oh man. Okay. This setup is actually pretty nice. Is it though? Okay, yeah. So we're gonna grab this and we're gonna put these 2 like so. So we're gonna put this tile here. So we need 4 or 3 in these spots of the fish that are not the same. Completed fish. And again, I'll show what completed fish means once we're done. Well, actually, I'll explain it now. Completed fish is whenever you finish a tile, you have to take one of the fish that were involved in its completion and put them on top of that tile. That fish is going to be locked there forever for the rest of the game, but they're considered completed fish for the purpose of checking these goals and for the purpose of checking these other conditions up here. So that's what that means. All right, we finished that. We got a sea life tile and we got a normal fish, so we replenish. Okay, and now we continue. So, I just need a yellow fish to go there. And I think I was setting myself up for a really cool thing. So we're gonna do this combination. Oh man, it's pointing in the wrong direction. Shoot. No. Okay, maybe not. Darn it. All right, I'm spinning my other seashell because I want this demo to go the way I want it to go. So we're gonna take this fish and this tile. Actually, let's take this fish and this tile. And we're gonna put this like so. And we're gonna put this one here. All right, so now that I've done that, we are continuing our turn. Now, our turn is not over, but before the end of our turn, because we have potentially two tiles that are available for being completed, I must finish those tiles. I must finish evaluating those tiles before the end of my turn. Now, it's still my turn, so I can kind of do different things, and I can't pick any more tiles. I can't wipe any more fish or wipe any more tiles. That's done. I'm all done over here, so I'm stuck over here on my board before I end my turn. So now here, I can choose which one of these tiles I want to finish. I want to complete this one first, so we're gonna go and complete this one. And I'm gonna grab this purple fish and swim him in there, because remember, if I get the fish and the coral to match, I will get 2 extra points at the end of the game for this one. So that's gonna be pretty good for me. So that's a side benefit for that one. Next, we have this one is still finished and available. I do want to take a step back and say that if I had taken this yellow fish and put it inside as a completed, so pull this yellow fish in instead, notice that it would make this no longer a completed situation. So if you want to chain things together, you have to be very cautious about what you pull and where you pull it from. That's why instead of just going straight for that yellow fish I saw last time, I wanted to put a yellow fish down here first so I can try to trigger both at the same time. Now, whenever you finish a tile, whenever you complete a tile, you do get a seashell back immediately. So that's going to be nice. And I'll show you, hopefully I'll show why that's going to be nice here in a second. So now this is done, I got to evaluate this one too before the end of my turn. So I'm going to go ahead and evaluate it now. So I'm going to pull this. So all the fish out around it were involved. I'm going to pull this orange fish into it, like so, and I get a seashell back. Now this time, I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 of my seashells to swim this fish from over here to over there. And oh look, all of a sudden, I finished yet another tile. Woo! So because of that, we're going to go ahead and flip this one over, and I'm going to bring the green fish in here. Actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to bring the green fish in here because I want to try to set up for this goal. Because if I get a yellow fish here or a purple fish here, then I completed this goal. So that's all done, and I get a seashell back. So that's it. My turn is now over. I can end my turn because I have no more evaluations to complete, and now we move on to the next round. We refill our board. And conceivably, if you're playing a multiplayer game, somebody can finish their board math while everybody else is taking their turns. But when I'm playing solo, it's only me, so you have to kind of deal with my AP there. All right, so on to the next turn here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, never mind. No, I thought I had a thing, but I do not have that thing that I thought. That's unfortunate. All right. Well, we're going to grab, well, do we want to grab that? No, we don't. We want to grab a yellow. Oh, we already got a yellow. Okay, all right. Let's see. We'll grab these two. So we'll grab this pairing here. Put this purple fish. Oh, he's on the wrong side. Oh, no. That's fine. We'll survive. Continue. Now remember, the game ends once I have 4 spaces left. So we're getting a good feel for the game. So I'm going to probably end this after the next 2 or 3 turns. And then we'll talk about my actual things that I like, things that I didn't like, and all that fun stuff. All right, continuing on here to try to solve the puzzle. Let's see. Let's do these two. Put that one there, and we can put this here. Risky, but we'll do it. Oh no, we can't. Well, sorry, we can. So now this is a good opportunity to talk about this. So there are sea life tiles, and at the end of the game, we're not going to make it to the end of the game here. But if you have a sea life tile that is not finished, it's not completed, you do still score partial points for sea life tiles. For coral tiles, you do not get that same thing. But if this were the end game state, and I were to score my points, I would score 9 points for this. I would score 5 points for that, and I would score 8 points for that. So that's a total of 22, if I'm not mistaken. It's 14 plus 8, so 22. And then I would score partial points for my sea life tiles. There's other scoring conditions too that I haven't talked about. Please consult your rulebook for that. But I would score 2 points, which is a small seashell, for every tile that matched the condition. So 1, 2. So 4 additional. So I'd have 26 points. And then I would score for this one 0 because there's no finish. It has to be completed sea life tiles. This one I would score 2 more. So what did I say? 26, 28. So I have 28 points right now. And then in addition, I'll score 1 point for every incomplete fish that is adjacent to a completed coral. So this fish will score me 1 point. this fish will score me 1, 2, 3 points, and this fish will score me 1, 2. So that's an additional 6 points, if I'm not mistaken. So 6 points plus, what did I say, 28? I think I said 28, so 34 points. Hey, look at me go. That's assuming that my math is all checks out and works. In addition, I'll score points for here, score points for there, and all that fun stuff. So going back into our game though, because like I said, we're gonna do 2 more turns and then we'll get into our review part because I want to try to get the chain reaction going. We've completed. Oh, no, we haven't. Because I was trying to evaluate if that was a good idea, and it wasn't. I'll do this instead. This one, yeah, we'll keep pointing this way. It's fine. What's wrong with putting it here? Okay, I'll just keep it there. It's fine. All right, so now we're done. Oh, actually, I do want to put it here instead. So I put this here and I put that fish there. Because I score more points if I get the sea life tiles in the middle, not on the edge. All right, so that's all done. This is going to be evaluated, so we will flip this one. Boom. And we will pull in... We'll pull in this purple fish. Well, ugh. We'll pull in this purple fish, and then we'll get a seashell back. And then we will spin 2 seashells to swim this yellow fish to here. And that will finish this tile. So we'll flip this one over, and all the fish were involved, and we're gonna pull in this. We're gonna pull in this yellow fish, and this one's gonna be. So we get a seashell back. This one's gonna be finished because there's 2 corals that are not the same that are completed. So that flips over. We get a seashell back, and this one's now finished because there's 1, 2, 3 different completed fish. Therefore, we do score this one as well, and we get a seashell back. And can we do anything else? Not quite. We don't have the right fish colors, but yeah, there you go. All right, so I did some nice little chain reaction there. So, woo, serotonin. All right, cool. We'll play one more turn, then we'll be done. All right, let's see. What can I do with one more turn? Not much, huh? That's unfortunate. If I can finish a green tile, then I can score this one. But ain't no way I'm finishing a green tile here. Alright, I'm going to spend 1 seashell to wipe the corals. Because I think they are atrocious right now for what the fish are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, these are worse. These are worse. How are these worse? Okay. Alright. Well. Yeah, these are all terrible. All right, well, my last turn is going to be lackluster. I was trying to get a completion, but we'll just do this and then put this fish here and then spin our last 2 seashells to swim this orange one here. And if I had 2 more seashells, oh, I do. Okay, all right, yeah, we'll use a sea lion. Hey. Okay, so we use a sea lion, throw out 2 fish. Bye. And swim this one here. Boom, look at that. We finished something. And we finished this coral. And we'll put an orange fish on it. And that's it. Okay, cool. I just want to finish that tile. Actually, I really want to finish this one, but it's too late. Okay, so let's go and get into the things that I like and things I didn't like about the game. As you can see, I clearly like the puzzle of this game. So I do greatly appreciate the puzzling that this game gives you. I do think it's a pretty good, like kind of for the time period that you're playing, for the what you're doing per turn, per action, per thing that you're doing. This game is very crunchy, and it's very nice in the sense that it kind of like gets in, lets you kind of do what you need to do, and then moves on with the stuff. I feel like this game somehow does not overstay its welcome, but also feels too short. And I want to clarify those words by saying that it's not that it's too short in the sense that I want it to go longer. It's just that sometimes once I finally get to like my puzzle, like I finally get that burst of serotonin, the game is almost over. And it's like, oh shoot. Oh, well, okay, cool. I guess I got my serotonin in, and we can see how I did. And usually that's good enough. That's sufficient enough for you to kind of do well or be competitive with your opponents if you're playing against other people. But this game does have a very strong sense of not overstaying its welcome, and I appreciate that. I think that there's a lot of games that I'm playing, especially nowadays, that really require 4 or 5 hours, like long commitments. And having a shorter game, because some people would still consider this game maybe a little bit longer than other games, is maybe a 45 minutes to an hour game at worst. and that's with other, well, actually with other players, maybe like 90 minutes at worst. But this game manages to not overstay its welcome, especially playing solo, and I greatly appreciate that because it kind of gets me the feelings I wanted, gets me the puzzle I wanted. I can get the tiles and get different combinations, and have like a different approach every time, and see how it goes based on what comes out, what fish come out, what corals come out, what sea life tiles come out, and it just gives me a lot for the little bit of time that it's spending on my table. So I appreciate this game for that. I give it all the praises for that. And I will say that this game also has the distinct ability to change drastically from playthrough to playthrough, depending on which tiles you put into your set. I've had games to where a lot of the tiles, they wanted you to have many matching kinds. So they want you to have like the same color fish, the same color corals, and the same color fish and corals, like in the case of cryptic colorization. And that felt great. It's like, man, like I scored like 3,000 points. I feel good. And then I've had combinations to where everything was just against each other. Like this one wants you to have 2 fish of the same color, but then it's paired up with a tile like this. I want you to have no fish of the same color. So as a result, you're like, okay, how do I like position this to where this one doesn't screw over that one, so I can make both of these true. And it's very challenging to kind of puzzle that through, and it feels very rewarding once you find out the solution with air quotes. But it also doesn't feel very cheap because, you know, yes, you can play with the same set over and over and over again until you figure it out. But even if you figured it out, so to speak, you found the solution, it still would really rely on what shows up and when it shows up. Because sometimes the fish aren't fishing, sometimes the tiles aren't tiling, sometimes the other tiles aren't other tiling, and you can just end up in a situation to where you had a plan, and it just, you know, as I say, the best laid plans, sometimes best laid plans don't survive first contact with the enemy or something like that, whatever the phrasing is, and that's exactly what happens in this game sometimes. So this game does reward you for having kind of like a long-term plan or having a long-term commitment, like trying to commit to getting your sea life tiles in a certain spot, or trying to commit to getting only matching fish on top of the corals that match. But that really will dictate what your puzzle looks like, because if you want all of your stuff to match for your corals and your fish, so you can score the extra 2 points there, then you got to be really, really cautious when you get a tile like this one put out on the board, because you want to have 3 different fish colors. And it's much easier to do stuff like this than it is to do stuff like this. Oh, well, lost my fish. To do stuff like that, where I'm just kind of destroying my board here. Because this is pretty trivial to do. It's like, you know, just put a different color fish, and all of a sudden, boom, I got a little sea life. Yeah, it just gives you like a really cool, interesting puzzle, and I do appreciate it a lot for that. Cassinga's praises to the sun goes home, and I will also say, just kind of summing up my things that I like about this game has completely and utterly replaced Cascadia. It's also replaced Calico for me. Personally, I think Calico is a game that I kind of went in, and it didn't fall flat. I just came in with the wrong intention. I think I did some of my review video of Calico a long time ago, and Calico ended up being like a game that I liked a lot. I didn't play it a lot, but every time I think about playing, I was like, ooh, that sounds like a fun game to play. Like, yes, it's a harsh puzzle, but it's like a nice little crunch for your time and everything. Like, you know, how do you score all the things at the same time? And then Cascadia, the exact opposite, is like, all right, I guess we're just putting these tiles in these places with these animals everywhere. So I think that this game is like a nice blend between the two, to where the puzzle is crunchy, but it's not overly crunchy. I mean, there are times where my brain just catches on fire because there's so much to like consider of like, okay, I need this to be true, this to be true, that to be true. So what do I need to put here, and how do I get it to show up there? And with what I have here, should I take the risk, or should I do this, or should I do that? And it gives you like a lot of decision space, which I actually greatly appreciate. Where something like Calico is like, you kind of have your 4 or 5 options that show up, and it's kind of, all right, what is my turn? What does the board state look like? What am I gonna do in my turn? There we go. But with this one, you have your own puzzle. It's all you. And yes, this does greatly impact you with a multiplayer game, because sometimes people take the combination you want it, sometimes people take the fish you want it, sometimes people wipe the board at the worst possible time, which has not happened to me before, has very much happened to me before. But it's all a part of the game. And like I said, this game has completely replaced those kind of games. And by those kind of games, I mean like Project L is safe. Project L is a very unique game. This is not replacing Project L. But I think that in the situation to where I have Calico, Cascadia, Project L living on the same shelf, I think I'm already at the point where I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to gift Calico to, who I'm going to gift Cascadia to, because I feel like for me personally, this is what I would rather play than those games. Yes, those games might be more entry level, but at that point, I'll play Project L instead. And again, I want to be very specific. Project L is not as similar to the games I just mentioned. Calico and this game have a lot more in common than Shallow Sea and Project L. But I'm just mentioning those games because like I'm looking at my shelf and trying to say, okay, what has this game replaced for me? And for sure, it's replaced Calico. For sure, it's replaced Cascadia. And yeah, those are two games that this game has definitely replaced completely for me. So I like this game a lot. I have a lot of great things to say about it. But as far as my negatives go, I will say that sometimes the puzzles do feel a little bit overburdensome, if that's a phrasing, that's a wording, if that's words. Those are symbols that speak and represent language. But what I mean by that is that sometimes it's like, okay, I clearly need to do this and this, but these things aren't helping me and I can't puzzle it out. So I end up with this like massive amount of analysis paralysis to where people are waiting on me. They're saying, hey, CulBlu, can you go ahead and take your turn, or what you doing, or you're choosing? It's like, give me a second, I'm thinking. And then by the time you commit to something, you decide to wipe the corals, and then it ends up so much worse than what you had before. It's like, shake your fist at the sky situation. Those moments don't feel great. It's a part of the game. So it's yes, I'm mentioning the negative side of things, the things that I didn't like, but it's a part of the game, so it's technically not that bad. But also it's a thing to be cautious of, because sometimes you can have a really great thing going along, you can be humming along with like a great little puzzle, and then it turns disastrous because you don't have the right fish, or there's not enough of these fish left, or maybe you made a bad decision early game that really came back to bite you in the butt later. And again, it's all part of the game, but I just want to mention those as the negatives because I feel like those things can really turn somebody off of this game. You spend all that time, granted it's not a ton of time, but you spend all that time planning, building, and then at the end it falls apart because you need one more turn, or it falls apart because somebody took the one tile that could have solved your problems. And that's heartbreaking, it happens. Again, it happens in games as part of the whole competitive, multiplayer solo. This is almost multiplayer solo, but not quite because of the interactions you get from here. But it's the kind of thing that happens in these type of games, but it's something to be aware of if you're coming to this game. So that's why I'm mentioning the things that I don't like, because I can see that being very off-putting for some people I play with in my game groups, and this will not be a game for them. This will not be a game for them. All right. Okay, so as far as my rating for this game, though, if I were to give this game a rating, have I given this game a rating? Because I think my rating, hold on, let me check. I have. Okay, that's right. Yeah, 7.5. 7.5 out of 10 is what I give this game a rating of. I have not played the nesting season stuff, but I have added the nesting season tiles, mostly because reviewers, when I was first looking to this game, they were saying that the nesting season gives you a lot more flexibility, and I agree. I find it absolutely obscene that the wild sides were not included in the base game. Why were they not included in the base game? Because this makes the game so much less analysis paralysis-y, because it gives you more options, it gives you more things to do. And these white sides, or these wild sides, are only included in the nesting season expansion. I feel like that's a crime. So I would give the game maybe slightly higher marks if it had more of those options, because that's your only real relief in this game, unless you just completely give up and pivot completely to something else. But that just basically means that I just dropped about 0.5. So I want to give it an 8, but 7.5 is what I'm going to give it. I haven't played with the nesting season expansion, the rest of it though, but I've heard reasonable things about it, especially playing solo. It gives you a little bit more challenge, but I'm working through the scenarios. I'm having a lot of fun myself, so I feel like it's sufficient. So I think 7.5 out of 10 is fair for me to give the game, even without consideration of all the nesting season stuff. I feel like if I did play through the nesting season stuff, maybe it might get bumped up that extra 0.5 to get to an 8 out of 10. But 7.5 out of 10 is what my final rating is going to land on this game. I do adore kind of the theme too. I'm not a huge marine biology person or sea life person or coral reef person myself, but I have friends who are, and it's been fun putting this game in front of them and saying, oh yeah, this is the fish, and this is the fish that people confuse with the angelfish. It's actually this fish instead, and they couldn't think of the name of it. But then we look into the rule book, and in the rule book in the back, they have this, I don't want to say expansive, but they have a section that talks about pretty much every single creature that shows up in this game, and I appreciate the fact that they included the Shallow Sea Encyclopedia back here. Fox-faced rabbitfish, that's what the yellowfish is called. But they have the names of all the different fish. They have a little blurb on each one about some sea life facts about it, and it's just really cool, because if you have somebody who's maybe have a kid that was really into sea life, or maybe you have a friend who's really into sea life like I do, or maybe you have a family member who's into sea life, you can kind of put this game in front of them, and they might play it just because of the theme. And this is something like Wingspan did, where it had a very inviting theme. It's something that Calico honestly did, given the whole park situation and the animals in the park. I just like this version of it better, personally. So I think that that's great that this game does those things. 7.5 out of 10 is what I'm going to land on for my rating. Just going to summarize that part. But to speak on a few other things, though, I do think that this game, is nice, is great. I will say that this game can get old if you keep playing the same sets. So I highly recommend getting or trying different pairings, trying different sets. And I would also recommend, if you play this game a lot, to just go ahead and work through the scenarios, because it's nice. It's like a nice little Sudoku puzzle. I kind of do it in the morning, play like a 30-40 minute game before your day starts, and then have fun. Treat it like some people did with Turing Machine, where they would do like a puzzle a day type situation. And you can even make your own combinations, which means that there's basically virtually infinite replayability on this. And I like that. Like, it's been a lot of fun. I've been having a blast just going through these objectives. And yes, I'm only on, whatever I'm on objective-wise. But I'm working through it. And then I can go back later with some friends and try it with some friends to see if we can try to competitively do it. And then there's even achievement mode to add, which gives you, I think, you can do both of these at the same time. I don't remember how this works, but I'm working through here, is what I'm trying to say. There's this, which I think you can mix and match and stuff, but yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I also have the Shallow Sea Rare Fish mini expansion, which I thought was ridiculous because I think it costs like $20 for this, which was like a very tiny box, or is it $25? It was crazy. But this one gives you some additional puzzles to kind of add in. It gives everybody a rare fish, which is actually just like a little placeholder, a little marker. And instead of ending on 4 open spots, you end on 3 open spots. And the rare fish gives you like another scoring condition. So it basically gives you like a third one of these cards effectively. Not actually, but effectively. Because you have to use one of the rare fish blue cards that come in there. But it's really cool because it kind of gives you like another way to think about the game. Like, you have a fish that's blocking a whole spot here on your board. So instead of having all the spaces available to you like you normally would, you have this kind of this fish blocking your spot. But that fish has scoring conditions associated with it that you can use to your advantage. But still, it's blocking kind of some of your space available. So you can do like this tile normally would have 1, 2, 3 spots for you to check. Now it only has 2 spots for you to check. But I think that's really cool. It kind of changes the game. It shakes up in a really good way. I haven't played with the Rare Fish expansion either, but I looked at the rules and I thought it was pretty cool for what it was giving you. I wasn't appreciative of the price of it. I think that was ridiculous, but I guess inflation's a thing, whatever. But this is really cool, and I like the Rare Fish expansion, and I'm looking forward to trying the Nesting Season expansion. So I just want to mention those 2 things because I haven't done a playthrough of those, but I'm considering doing a playthrough video of the Nesting Season expansion with the turtles and also with the Rare Fish, separate videos. So we'll see what the future holds. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and conclude our video by saying that's going to be it. Hopefully this video has been informative and entertaining. If you were deciding or on the fence about possibly getting something like this game, I would highly recommend it. 7.5 out of 10 may not sound very high, but just know that this game has replaced 2 other games in my collection already. Yeah, I don't feel bad. I feel like I'm gonna give Calico a nice home. I feel like I'm gonna give Cascadia a nice home to somebody else. But it clears up space on my shelf. Great game. I enjoy playing it solo. I enjoy playing with friends, and I'm looking forward to putting this on my table more. All right. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you all whenever.